Welcome to the Evans Legacy Financial Podcast, where real people have real conversations about money, mindset, and making moves. I'm your host, Jake Evans, and this show isn't about fluff or hype. It's about educating our community, sharing stories, and giving you the tools to make better decisions in business and in life. Let's dive in. I am sitting here today with Mirna Garcia. Mirna is a powerhouse. Welcome. First, I'm going to say welcome. Thank you for coming in today and taking time out of your day. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake, for inviting me.
Yeah. And so, you're a powerhouse realtor, chief board of governors for NAHREP NW California, founder of a housing initiative that helps families access ownership. Today we're going to talk about legacy, leadership, generational wealth, and using real estate to transform lives. Okay. Just a little bit about you. From corporate roots to community impact. Let's start at the beginning. You've been in Fresno since the 90s. What led you here? What makes this city special to you?
Actually, I'm first generation born here.
Okay.
My mother was 3 months pregnant when she crossed the border.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of those kids. And they were actually following the harvest. And so that's actually what led us into Fresno.
Well, that's all. Fresno and the surrounding area is all about the harvest.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. So before real estate, you had a career in the corporate world. How did that shape your perspective? Because coming from where you came from, how do you get to shaping a perspective of where you're at today from that and being in the corporate world? First, let's talk about how you got into the corporate world.
Yeah. So I actually, my parents were very much into education, and that was really important to them. And the 9 to 5 was really important to them. And so they pushed really hard for us to get our education. And I went to Fresno City College, and I actually took some accounting classes and business and whatnot. And I figured, I like numbers. Mm-hmm. Numbers don't lie.
Right.
And so I decided to go into that environment, and I was putting myself through school. So I was working graveyard.
So you're doing this on your own. This is in the trenches story here. Okay.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So let me go back a little. There's a part that actually kind of propelled me. Yes, my parents were really big into education and whatnot, but something tragic happened early in my life, and I ended up getting kicked out of my home.
Okay.
And so I wanted to finish school so bad. And so I found a company called Zaki Farms.
Oh, very familiar with Zaki Farms.
And they had a graveyard shift.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I need to work graveyard so I can put myself through school. I don't want to give up on school. Like, I felt like that was my gateway to getting a better job, right? A career, whatever that looked like, because I was so young. And so I actually ended up, I was applying for just a job on the line. I didn't care. I wanted to get out of where I was at and into a better place and finish school. And the lady looks at me in HR and says, "Hey, girl, you are overqualified." And I'm like, "What do you mean I'm overqualified? Does that mean I don't get the job?" And she goes, "No, I actually have something else better for you to offer you." And I go, "Okay, wow. I'll do anything as long as it's graveyard, because I got to finish school." And she goes, "Well, there's an opening in quality control.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get the manager in here and see if you pass." So I applied, long story short. So I did quality control for like 7 years, finished school. And then there was an opening in the accounting department.
Wow, okay.
And it was one of those jobs that either, somebody has to retire or die, right? Because nobody gives up those positions, really good positions and good benefits. And so being that I was already in the company, they said, "Hey, I see that you're almost done with school, and we have an opening in accounting. Are you interested?" I'm like, 100%. Yes. Where do I sign up? When can I start? It opened, and I walked through. I was a little scared because I was, 20? 21. No, 20. Yeah, I was 20 years old when I got that job, and I did that for about 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I loved it, but
So how did that, now I'm going to go into that question of how did that shape your perspective? I mean, from coming from having to, on the floor maybe.
Yeah.
Now you've got this corporate job. Now you've got this job that you can,
So I loved it. Okay. I've always loved math and numbers and just spreadsheets and whatnot. I loved it. And it was 9 to 5, right? And had good benefits and whatnot. However, I realized I love people. And my corporate job pretty much was, you're in your office, here's your work, you clock in, clock out, you put your reports out, you're done. There's no people interaction.
There's a group of people that you work with, and then that's it.
That's it. And we're all there to do our job. It's your 10 key, your phone, your computer, your reports. As long as your reports are done, you're in and out, like limited interaction. I don't know if you guys know accountants, but accountants don't talk very much.
No.
We're very analytical, right? So, yeah, the people component of it kind of was something that I was eager to have in my life. I love people. I've always loved people.
Okay, so there's a lot of different areas you can go into with people. There's retail. There's all kinds of different places you can go. So what was the turning point when you knew real estate was going to be your long-term path?
It wasn't. So it wasn't real estate. Okay. No. So real estate was not something that was even on my radar. So I actually, life happens. I had children, and my husband decided he was going to keep me home.
Okay.
And I had always wanted to be home and be able to raise my family and whatnot. And eventually, unfortunately, he lost his job. And so he asked me to go back to work. Well, at that point, I had been out of the arena for 2.5 years already, and things had changed so rapidly with technology.
Right. So
I had to go back to take some classes to get caught up with the new software they were using for accounting. In the midst of all that, I said, well, let me go to Workforce, check out what they have, and see if they can help me find a job, because I was struggling. And I'm like, this is so odd. Like, I was really good at what I did and had a good rapport, but I struggled. So one of the places I ended up at like a temp job, was this little one-stop shop in the Tower District. And they did accounting for doctors and also helping them find their rural clinics. And so I was really good at locating rural sites to convert into clinics. I learned how to do the state, federal applications, all of that, so that they could get approved, and I would set them up, and I was just naturally good at it. But we used an attorney to tie up the sale, right? I'd go find a location, make sure it fit all the criteria, submitted the applications and whatnot, and then we'd have an attorney go ahead and tie up the contract and finalize the sale. And so we were splitting the commission, I guess, I don't know what you would call it, because that was not my part of the deal. I was an hourly. Then I became salary. But anyway, so the owner of that company says, hey, Mirna, you're really good at interacting with people, and you're naturally gifted at finding these locations. You're good. Why don't you get your real estate license? I'm like, yeah, why not?
So here's our turning point.
Yeah, so I go back to Fresno City College because I'm a brick and mortar kind of girl. I'm old school. I need a book. I need interaction. I need to be able to balance thoughts and questions. And so I did 2 years at Fresno City College to get my license. Okay. Instead of the 6-month route.
Yeah, that's the one I took. I'm sorry.
Nothing wrong with it.
And I'm the same brick and mortar guy that was when I went to school for web design and my CCNA and the tech stuff, that I had to be able, because you're right. In a lot of the tech world, in a lot of that, you have to be able to have the people around you that are maybe these younger guys. I was 40-some years old, and these younger guys are just coming out of the woodwork, and I'm going, I need to be with them because they're helping me. So it's the same. It's kind of the same thing here. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So you've been in. So now we're going to talk about a bigger purpose. You've been in the business for over 15 years. Okay. what keeps you passionate about this work? And I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to let you answer it.
Yeah, to me, it's people. It's people. I love people. And I think because I found myself early on in my life being homeless and not having the safety of a roof and four walls, it's something that's really important to me. Like, I am even getting emotional just thinking about it right now because, a home it provides so much more.
Yeah. No, it does. And you're getting don't get me started, because I did the same thing. I left home at 13, emancipated at 17, and sleeping where I slept.
It's hard.
It is hard. It's a tough world out there. And then look where we're both at. I mean, there's, this, and the podcast is about second chances, and it's about legacy, but it is about second chances. It is about making something out of almost nothing. So, wow. So you work, and that is true passion. That is true passion for people. So you work across, you work residential, commercial, investment properties. What do you enjoy most about the variety?
It's pretty cool because in regards to like residential, obviously, it's their first time, and my favorite part is always key day, right? To me, it's like that's the biggest, best thing ever. It's so gratifying to be able to show up with keys to their home and watch the kids run around, picking their room, rolling around on the carpet, literally bouncing off the walls, and them planning where their trees are going to go, their flowers, what colors, like all of that is amazing.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to, commercial, it's pretty cool because that person has taken that leap. Because I get a lot of entrepreneurs. I don't get like they're buying their second investment or third. I get the first time.
They're enlarging their corporation or something like that.
Yeah.
You're getting the guy who's coming from maybe where we're at and going, it's time I did a brick and mortar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
they see no barriers. They've taken that leap, and it's pretty cool to be part of that. Right. And when they start now investing into other things, whether it's multi-units or retail strips, gas stations, and you hear their story, you realize that they actually were where you were at some point in their lives. And it took that leap. And so it's exciting to be able to be part of that whole ecosystem.
And I think the passion, if anybody is passionate about real estate and really doing it for people, that's really where it's at. That's really the core of this whole thing. It does, like we were talking about it before the show, is my commission is my commission. It is what it is. But I walked into an office one day, and I said, we closed, and somebody says, no, it won't be till Monday. And I'm like, I gave them their keys today. And they said, but you won't get your check until Monday. I'm like, they got their keys.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line, is They got their keys. When the property's closed, the deal is done when I give my client the keys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's wow.
It's so rewarding.
It is. It's very rewarding. So can you share a story about a client or family that really, really stuck with you? Maybe someone whose life you changed forever through homeownership?
There's many.
I was going to say there's probably a ton of them, but
there is. I think when you've been doing this as long as we have, and you get a diversity of people, and it's pretty cool. I mean, how do I pick the young family who's been living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 kids, right? Or how do I pick the elderly couple who at 60 are buying their first home and didn't think it was ever going to be possible, right? Like, how do you pick, or how do you, even like the daughter of a previous client, when you've been in it long enough, eventually their kids come to you and say, hey, you help my mom and dad. Can you help me?
And there's part of the name of this show, legacy.
Yeah.
They're building a legacy, and you know what? They're doing it through you. So you're actually helping them build this legacy, and that's what this is all about. Because legacy isn't what, and I say this over and over again, and people are going to get tired of hearing it. Legacy is not what you leave behind. It's what you build to leave behind. So it's what you're building today. So legacy is really all about what you're doing today, not what you're leaving behind.
Right.
So I want to shift gears a little bit, and talk about empowerment in action. And I want to talk about your leadership role with NAHREP. What does it mean to serve as the Chief of Board of Governors for the Northwest California region?
Yeah, I'm not big on titles, so it feels a little funny when you're saying all these
right.
titles. Because a title is only as good as the work you do under that title, right? I mean, I hate to admit it that, yes, some of these titles are important to people, and they do open doors, but it's what you do with it, right? And NAHREP has been something very rooted within me. Even before I became a realtor, I had heard about it. And there was just power in seeing so many people, like-minded people, come from the same background, feeling empowered and able to actually move mountains.
So I want to ask you, so for our listeners who don't know, NAHREP, tell me what that stands for.
Yeah, NAHREP is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals.
Okay. All right. So, and it focuses on building wealth and leadership in the Latino communities, right? So
Yes.
how does that mission show up in your day-to-day? And I think you answered some of that, but I want you to go a little deeper on that. How does that show up in your day-to-day?
So let me, you said something in regards to, Latino community. Actually, it's not just the Latino community, but also those that work with the Latino community.
Okay.
Right? It's everybody. We're an ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand that, yeah.
And so I just want to clarify that. But can you ask the question?
So how does, focus? So NAHREP focuses on building wealth.
Mm-hmm.
How does that mission show up in your day-to-day?
There's a diversity of things that they do, right? We have a really good network of people that we work with and are able to seek guidance, mentorship, help each other in regards to making sure that we're taking care of things that are arising in our arena, right? I mean, there's so many things changing right now, right? The current administration, there's a diversity of changes that are impacting our community. And across the board. I'm not just saying the Latino community, but
No, it's everywhere.
Everywhere,
It's
right?
everywhere.
We're all getting hit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're obviously trying to continue to have growth and prosperity and pivot through that time frame. And I think when you're surrounded by like-minded people and you're on the same mission, you're going to make an impact.
Right.
You're going to be heard. So there's power in numbers. Like, I think when it's one person, sometimes it's not as impactful, unfortunately. Yes, we can make a difference, but with numbers, we're a force to be reckoned with.
So that brings me to that actually feeds right into the next question is, it's for someone just getting involved, just starting out in NAHREP, what would you say they should focus on to grow and to contribute?
So I think it's important to self-evaluate, right? What are you looking for? Identify what your why is.
There it is.
Figure it out. Because if you don't even know what your why is, you're going to be lost.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll find a diversity of things, and you'll go down different rabbit holes. But at the end of the day, if you know your why, you're going to find what you're looking for in NAHREP.
When I got into this, I heard that phrase, know your why, and I had no clue. So and I know what it is now. So tell me, what do you mean by what is your why?
Like, what's your purpose? What's your reason? What's your mission? Right? You have to have some clarity. And if you don't, that's okay too, because you will find it, and just know it's going to take you a little while to get to where you probably want to go.
Mm-hmm.
But having some clarity up front and knowing can make a huge difference, because now you're focused and on target, and you're driving with a goal in mind, right?
So you said focus, and I'm gonna Brian Buffini. I don't know if you know who he is, but Brian Buffini is one of the real estate guys. He's down in San Diego, and I remember him explaining the why, and it's asking yourself the question, why do you do what you do? Okay, then taking that answer and asking why, and then taking that answer and asking why. And when you can no longer have an answer and you've arrived at a focal point of why, that's your why.
And it can be a diversity of things, right? I mean, I think you and I got into the conversation about commission earlier. And for a long time, being a Latina, we were not allowed to talk about money, right? Money was a bad thing. It was evil. And later in life, I learned that money is as good as what you do with it, right? So you have some people that go into the business for money.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have those that go in because they're passionate and they care. There's nothing wrong with either one. Both
Right.
are much needed. The reality is that none of us are able to take care of our households if we're not bringing some income in, right?
Right.
We have to be able to take care of our households in order for us to be able to take care of our community,
Mm-hmm.
if that's what we want to do. Like, we have to know our why. We have to be driven and know our purpose. But it has to align with who we are. I
Right.
think I come across a lot of people, and I mentor some realtors. I'm very selective now. I used to try and help everybody, but
Right.
I only have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, it's the audience. It's your audience. Who is your audience, and you're going to pick that very carefully. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, well, because it's you have 24 hours in a day,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so much to be accomplished that sometimes I go to sleep struggling, thinking like, "Ooh, I didn't do this, and I didn't do
You know, I want to say something about that right there, because there's a, and I'm going to paraphrase biblically. There is a verse that says, if you're not received in that city, brush the dust off your feet and move on to the next one. And that is the same when we're talking to people and mentoring people. Now, that's not to say that they can't be helped, but that what that says to me is that I'm not the one to help them. Somebody else will come along and that they can be able to receive. So we can't help everybody, but there is that select few that's already been chosen ahead of us on a path that we're supposed to help. And if we're cluttering our lives with the ones that are not listening, we have to move on.
You know, the beautiful thing about NAHREP, you have a network,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just like any organization you choose to be part of, whether it's ADIA, the Realtors, the Fresno Association of Realtors, whatever association you're part of, you're going to have a network. So let's say that you're not the right person for them. That's okay. You absolutely said it. You're 100% correct.
And that's where the
refer 'em.
networking comes in, because
Yeah.
you know these people say, you know what, I know the fit for you. I've got a personality that'll fit you. I'm going to give him your number, or I'm going to, and we're going to connect them. And it's all about connecting. And we know that in our business, it's all about connecting. In the office we're in today,
Right.
it's all about connecting. And I would have never been able to do this show without connecting with a group of people who connected me with a group of people who got me here.
But you never let somebody walk out the door without getting what they're looking for, right?
Right. It's
Because
always,
I think that's an ugly feeling when somebody looks at you and slams the door and says, no.
Yeah, I'm always the type of person is if somebody asks me a question and they're in my office or in front of me and I don't have the answer, I'm always going to tell them the truth, that I don't have the answer for that, but you know what? Let me have your information. I'm going to get it to you by the end of the day. And I normally will either put them in connection with somebody else to do that, because that's what we need. I can't say, I don't have the answer, or try to lie through it, or tell something that's not true. That's
Because
the
we know what
worst
that
thing.
feels like, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
It's not a good feeling.
Right. So, this is all good stuff. I'm going to butcher this again, but I'm going to try to get it right. You founded Llaves De Tu Casa.
Beautiful.
Did I say that right?
Yes.
It's a housing initiative. What inspired that name and vision?
Yeah, so actually being a Latina, there was, and there is still, a huge need for the underserved community, right? There's a language barrier. And so our intent was to help as many as we could in the Latino community who had that language barrier by letting them know, like, here's a workshop just for you. We're bilingual. We're here. We can help you. And so that's part of why it's in Spanish, because we wanted
What does it stand for anyway?
It's keys to your home.
Keys to your home. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And to me, that was there's power in that.
There is power. It's just you told me that, and I got a little choked up right there. Keys to your home. Wow. And coming from who you're dealing with, it's even more. I think it's even more powerful. That's beautiful. So, I'm going to go into that a little bit. What kind of workshops are you offering, or do you offer, and who are they designed to help? And I think you answered the second part of that, but what kind of workshops do you offer?
So we actually hold a homeownership workshop every last Saturday of the month. We've been doing it now going on 5 years.
Okay.
And when I say we, it's actually a multitude of professionals, from lenders to realtors to credit specialists to HUD specialists, all come together last Saturday of the month, and we teach what the path is to homeownership, and we talk about grants and down payment, because there's a ton of grants and down payment and people are not utilizing them. And so we want to get the word out there, right? And then also just letting them know that there is a pathway, right? And even if you're not ready right now, like, we can help you. We can put you on the path. Let's make it happen. Like, if you're here and you really are serious about becoming a homeowner, we will help you. We'll meet you halfway.
And I think that's a path. That pathway is a path into the next question, is why education around homeownership is so important, especially for working families and first-time home buyers. It's because I say it in my emails all the time to future clients, even if you're not ready today, I want to get this information into your hands and keep your finger on the pulse of the market. So when you are ready, you're informed. You're not scrambling to find out, what's going on today. You are empowerment. That's what it's about. I think we've talked about that a little earlier.
Yeah, they're empowered, right? They're able to make better decisions for their household.
Yes.
Because instead of them relying on the person they're sitting in front of, they can now actually say, hey, I X, Y, and Z. I want this, I want that. Can you show me how to maybe apply for the grants and down payment assistance that's available? Do I qualify? Do I not qualify? Why do I not qualify? What can I do? Why am I getting an interest rate at this amount and not what my neighbor got?
Right.
You can have a more meaningful conversation when you're informed. You're coming from a position of knowledge versus not knowing a single thing and trusting the person in front of you is going to take care of you and advocate for your well-being.
And I had a conversation actually with my daughter last night. She was asking me about stuff and her credit score and all this, and I had to get her on the phone because I can't do that on text. First of all, I'm not going to do it on text. Second of all, it's like every transaction and every person and every credit score and everything is different. So you have a 680, somebody else has a 580, somebody else has a 780. You guys could all do the same thing.
Right.
But it just depends on the person. So that education helps them understand some of these things and like, oh, okay, here's
how
what I need to do.
credit works, right? The debt to income ratios, insurance, property taxes, like everything.
So where do people I'm going to let you plug it because I want you to. Where do they be sign up for these
workshops?
The workshops,
So we actually have a Facebook page. It's called Llaves De Tu Casa, which is LLAV as in victory, ES, DE, and then CASA. And it's on Facebook, Llaves De Tu Casa.
Okay.
You actually, if you just Google it, it should pull up a ton of information and videos on Llaves De Tu Casa.
And I'm also going to, at the bottom of this episode, I'm going to go ahead and put some of that stuff in there.
I appreciate that.
I'll put a couple of links in there for people to go to because it's important. This is what the networking that we talked about.
Exactly.
Because I don't speak Spanish, and I'm not part of that, but I can connect you with some of the people, in my life that need that. You know what I'm saying?
And then I know that our focus is the Latino community, right? The ones that need that translation. But it's open for everybody.
Exactly. I was just going to say that just because my clients don't speak Spanish, there's several different homeownership classes out there, and it just a different fit for each, like we talked about earlier. It may not fit one, but I want to find 6 of them.
And there's
5 or 6 that I can, you're good here. Oh, I think, but you should go over here. Yeah. It's all the same information, but it's how it's going to be received.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to do a little something different here towards the end, and it's, courage beyond real estate. And I want to talk about, you also speak and advocate for survivors of trauma through your work with RAIN. Can you share how that mission became personal for you?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. Yeah, so I'll have to say that, first of all, my real estate business definitely does give me the ability to be able to volunteer a lot of my time to things that I'm very passionate about. And this is something really deep and personal to me because I am a survivor of rape. This, and you know, if you look it up, it's the Tower District rapist. I'm one of 22 survivors. He's actually up for parole next week, June 6th. And so I'll be going to that hearing, hoping to keep him there, but we'll see. So I got involved because of that. And I realized in my journey of trying to find the support I needed that I was having a hard time finding the support and the answers that I needed. And so I figured if I can speak up and be a voice for many of us who feel ashamed and afraid or not quite ready, because it's a journey.
Oh, it is.
Right?
It's definitely a journey.
It's 100%. And sometimes we kind of go between victim and survivor. There's no right or wrong. It's where you're at in that time in your journey. And I want people to be able to find a safe space where they can feel supported, seen, heard.
Oh, exactly. So in 2019, you were awarded this Courageous Citizen Award. What did that mean to you?
You know, I mention it because it's, you know, I received that award, and it was through the Rotary Club. The district attorney's office actually submitted my name, and it was because I was one of 22 and the only one that stepped forward to publicly oppose Rudolph Acosta being released from prison in 2019. And I was doing what I thought needed to be done. I didn't do it to receive an award. I appreciate it gratefully. But for me, when I look at that award, it's a reminder of all the victims and survivors, including the 2 that committed suicide, and why it's important to keep going forward and not stop.
Right.
Because there's days that I too want to stop. I'm tired. I've been at this since 2019, and this is my 3rd round.
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting.
Yeah,
it wears on me. So that award, I appreciate having been given that award, and I truly am honored. But for me, it's a reminder of work that I have to continue doing, pushing forward, that this is bigger than me.
Exactly. You know, I'm going to go a little long on our episode today, and I hope our listeners don't mind, because this is some really deep stuff, and I think I'm eating it up, and I think that it's really important to just keep the flow going. Okay. I don't want to break it into another episode. This is going to be you know, you've used both your voice and your platform to help others. What have you learned about healing and strength through service?
It's a journey. It really is. You know, I like I mentioned earlier, I have moments of weakness, and then I'm reminded of all the victims and survivors and God, right? God has always had my back. Like every single time I feel like I'm going to break, my faith brings me right back and gets me to stand straight up and say, okay, you got this. You're not alone.
Exactly.
And so one of the things that I have definitely learned through this process of going through this and using my voice and advocating and trying to help as many as I can is that it does take a lot of faith. You got to believe in something higher than yourself. I truly believe that. Whatever you that is for you, but it has to be a higher power than yourself. There has to be some kind of faith there that you have, that you ground yourself and you're reminded.
Right? I agree 100%. Trust me. And you know some of my story. So that's, you know, so outside of work, You love the outdoors, hiking, camping, painting. I think that's beautiful. What does that time give to you?
Restoration. It allows me to rebuild, re-energize, and feed into my soul. Right. I think all of us sometimes we're in a vicious cycle of giving and giving, or working our tails off until we can't no more. We're burning our candles at both ends. And yes, I'm guilty of that. And I'm like always telling people there's 24 hours in a day. There's 24 hours. You have the same amount of hours as the President of the United States.
Exactly.
What are you going to do with that? And so I've gotten a little bit more purposeful about making sure I'm taking care of myself. Because I have found that when I choose to not do that, and it's a choice, right?
It is a choice.
This is not a third world country. We actually can wake up every morning and choose how we want to go about our day, how we want to interact, how we want to move through life, right? Every single day it's a choice. So I have consciously made a decision because of all the different things that I have chosen to do, which I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a mother of 9. And I have young adults. I have a 10-year-old.
Okay, that gives me a whole new perspective here. I didn't know you were a mother of 9.
Yeah, many people don't know that.
Wow, okay, that's huge. Wow, okay.
And so also, that I love giving back to my community and doing all that, but I have to be God. I have to feed my soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing all those different things, whether it's going to church on Sunday, going for a hike, painting, it feeds my soul. It re-energizes me, and we have to remember to do that. We have to take care of ourselves so we can continue to do the work we're intended to do here.
Exactly. It's the passion. You have a blog, Our Hearts Thrive. Where do people find that?
So it's currently a blogger, and just type in Our Hearts Thrive.
Okay.
I am working on a website with Quick Labs, and it should be ready, I would say, by this Friday. Actually,
That's today.
That's today. So we'll see if it's done. But the gentlemen over at Quick Labs were very gracious to agree to do my website at no cost.
Wow. Okay.
Because they believe in the mission and the purpose of what this
That's pretty awesome.
is about. Yeah.
So you've got all this stuff going on. You got your real estate. You spend time for you, hiking, camping, painting. You have the NAHREP. You have your rain work. You have all of this.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a really big question. What's next for you? What's next for you personally or professionally? What are you excited about that's next?
I'm actually on a pendulum right now. I'm not. There's something that I mentioned it earlier, right? On June 6th is the parole hearing, and depending on the outcome of that, we'll decide the next step.
Okay.
I think it's very evident that I will be forming a nonprofit for Our Hearts Thrive, so that I can go ahead and help a lot more people that are going through trauma or are trying to support someone who's going through trauma of rape. And then the other part that I'm working on is actually making Llaves De Tu Casa something that can be duplicated in every city. Because one of the reasons we started it too was the city of Fresno jumped on board with us and became our partners when we started that initiative. And that opened up the door to grants and down payment and these conversations, how we could help the community. And so I want to be able to take that into other cities so that they can know how to utilize everything that's out there. It's already there. We just we're not talking. We're not connecting all the dots. And so we need to connect all the dots and help people navigate through it.
And you know what? This brings us kind of to a close, but I want we've talked about your mission. We've talked about, courage beyond real estate, your Llaves De Tu Casa, all of this, and duplication. As a matter of fact, in our office here, that's what we're all about. Duplication means success. If we duplicate what we're doing, somebody else is going to go do it, and then they're going to duplicate it, and it's just going to light fire across the country. And I believe in that.
And Jake, the thing is, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be here forever.
No.
Right. So
No,
I
and
want someone else to.
Right. And the
keep
legacy,
this going.
that's, again, we're bringing it back to legacy. We're duplicating the legacy. So when this is got, like, this podcast, I'm hoping that long after I'm gone, people are still listening. You know what I'm saying? Because
Absolutely.
it's not just for today, it's for tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Every 24 hours counts. So, you know what? I want to bring you back too. I really do want to bring you back after June 6th. Can we do that?
Absolutely.
All right. That sounds great. You know what? Thank you so much for coming in. Whether you're in real estate leadership or just trying to figure out your next chapter, Mirna's story shows that purpose and passion can open doors for generations to come, and there's that legacy again. I want everybody out there to follow Mirna's work through NAHREP, Our Hearts Thrive, the Llaves De Tu Casa. Look her up on Facebook. Any last words you want to say before we close out? Give me one point that you can make that sums it all up for you.
I don't know, sweetie. All I keep thinking is there's 24 hours in a day. What are you going to do with it? Right.
And enough said. That's it. I mean, that's powerful enough right there. Wow. So we've come to an end of another episode. Man, this has been, Mirna, I'm so glad that we talked at a meeting the other day and you agreed to do this. Thank you so much for coming in, and you're a blessing to our community, and keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for tuning into the Evans Legacy Financial Podcast. If you got value from today's episode, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more real conversations that move the needle in life and business. Until next time, keep building, keep growing, and never stop chasing what matters.